Welcome to Danu on Fire right here on Hi TV, your luxury channel. We are checking out Yumi at Taj Samudra, and you know they serve delicious food, and she loves it. So we decided to just come here.
Yeah,
Hi, Malsha.
perfect. Hi.
And you like this food here?
It's one of my favorite restaurants, to be honest.
See, I always knew.
You know me so well.
And I would also like to let you know this is inspired by kimono.
Oh, wow.
I recognize it now. I picked up on it. I would like to take credit for it.
Okay.
For those who have not noticed it, please. It's my creative
You're the only one who noticed that.
Yes, I know. The creative eye will always point that out. All right, so before we get into anything, I would like to tell you, please eat. This show is all about food and conversation.
You don't need to tell me to eat.
Yeah, we have opted to not show our side profiles.
Yeah.
That's where we can't hold it together. The suck doesn't help. Anyway, so we were talking about something over the last few months. We have been following up with Malsha on different shows. We have spoken about it, period poverty, and she has been working towards creating a platform where women can get their monthly cycle and not feel bad about spending money, and also have the freedom to speak about it openly and not feel ashamed of it. Because we are living in 2022, and if you are feeling ashamed about it, you need to slap the person who is cringing at you and not the fact that you should feel bad. So let's speak about period poverty. Why, just to refresh everyone's mind, why did you go and concentrate on this particular subject?
I thought it was very weird, like the taboo around the subject. I remember once I was at a restaurant, and I always carry a sanitary napkin, a pad in my bag. Maybe I might need it or another woman might need it. So someone asked for a pen, so my bag was kind of packed, and I took everything that was out in my bag and I put it onto the table looking for the pen, and I put the sanitary napkin on the table as well. And all the men at the table were like, did you just leave a pad on the table? And I'm like, well, it's not used, it was a brand new pad. I was like, yeah. And then I realized how, like, I was supposed to be ashamed that I, a woman, may need a pad.
Yeah.
And this discussion, I was very open about the fact, oh yes, I bleed. I don't think I need to hide it and be ashamed by it. So
you would like diamonds to come out of it, but it's blood.
I mean, it's not, I mean, we bleed 4 days a month, and we wear heels and do the same thing men do, right? And so this discussion, like me and my friends, we would talk about it, and we were wondering what we could do regarding period poverty, and that's how Free to Flow came about. And we wanted to have something, you know, that would last longer than distributing one-time use pads. So we did the reusable pads. And Free to Flow also fights to remove taxes on sanitary napkins that are imported and the ones produced here. So it's a long process that we have been working on.
So let's speak about the whole tax part of it. It's still implemented, correct?
Yes. So what was funny was countless amount of finance ministers have come and gone, and we have been trying to get our foot in the door, and we've been sending documents, we've been calling, finding every avenue that we can find, but we were told, I swear to my face, I was told, this is just not important enough, or the tax that the country earns from taxing pads is just not big enough. So it doesn't really matter. So because it's 0.005% is the tax that actually the revenue the country gets from taxing pads, and we were told it wasn't significant enough to remove. So then I said, if it's not significant enough, why not remove it? But you know, finally, under the new Prime Minister, we managed to get a meeting. We spoke to Dr. Kumaranatunge, we put our case forward, and they actually listened, and we were very surprised because we were waiting in our heads
for somebody to sit you down and just talk to you.
Yeah, because we're so used to being shut down, like, oh God, a bunch of women talking, right? But like this gentleman actually listened, and he heard our plight, and he straight away said, okay, let's do it. We'll remove general duty. But so what happens from removing the custom duty or the general duty is that we prevented the price of the pad packet increasing. Right. Because with everything increasing, it was bound to increase. It would have gone to about 700 rupees, which is, it's 450 rupees now a pack. And now it would have gone up to about 700. But now we are also having discussions to remove cess and PAL, which is another 15% and 10%. So once those are removed, we're hoping that it will come down to about 250 to 300 rupees, which it was before.
Right. and that's the target that we're looking at. And considering the fact that this is a daily issue, and also it's an issue that's affecting the environment as well, and that's why reusable pads and environmentally friendly pads are something that we need to speak about and create, promote, and speak about the hygiene level that you should look into prior to using it. Now, going with this concept of cloth is it's an old tradition, and it's still used in rural sections.
Yeah.
And I can say this because while I was in Jaffna, it was the only mode that was used. There was nothing else. So let's speak about going back to this. Hygiene is an issue, and a lot of people don't look at it. And how have you all solved that with Free to Flow?
So it's different from using just a normal cloth, because this has absorbent material and it absorbs just like a normal pad.
Right.
You have to clean it very well. You have to be very careful when it comes to the cleaning process of it and make sure it's 100% dry, so there are no germs being accumulated. So it works just as much as a pad, but the thing, what we give a set of pads to a lady, they can use it over and over again. It's not like we're giving a one-time pack of disposable pads. It doesn't really help anything. It's just
solve the problem.
So we went with reusable sanitary napkins just because it's environmentally friendly, it lasts longer, and it's a big movement that's taking place. You see all over London and America and Europe, reusable sanitary napkins are becoming the trend now.
Correct. And also, there is a huge issue in terms of the representation of women in the parliament. And do you think women in the parliament have spoken about this prior?
Well, as far as I know, I think only Sajid Premadasa spoke about it, and he was ridiculed for that, for being a man. And I remember an actress saying, my Sinhala Buddhist husband is very capable of buying me a pack of pads. And it's ridiculous because...
And who is this, may I ask?
I can't remember her name.
I would welcome you to eat now.
All right.
Go ahead and eat. Food is a priority on this show. I have mixed two things together that I like, eating and talking. Let's get into a break. We'll see you after. Welcome back to the show, in conversation with Malsha, and we're checking out Yumi at Taj Samudra. Some say Taj, some say Taj. How do you say?
Taj?
Yeah, I also use the Taj.
Yeah. It's fancier.
Yeah, well, Taj. Anyways, welcome back to the show. So we're talking about her concept, Free to Flow, and one of the reasons why we came here is when she launched it to the public, it actually happened at Taj, and we thought it's just ideal to come back to where it all started.
Yes.
Yeah. So now there is a progress in this mission, and what would be the future steps? Now you have been doing the distribution of these reusable pads, and how far have you all gone?
So we're also working with Arca Initiative to launch the cheapest sanitary napkins on the market, which will be 99 rupees for a pack of 10.
Oh, wow.
So I think they're going through their process of getting the necessary confirmations and the red tape they have to go through. So we're working on getting it through to Sathosa and other garment co-ops.
Right.
So that more rural areas will be able to access it. Because period poverty is not just about unaffordability, it's also about access to it. The fact that people can't find it. Because in Colombo it's freely available. But when you go out of Colombo, that is not the case.
And you were telling me about an incident as well. So I'm talking about how far out of Colombo it started becoming a problem.
actually, like I was in Sigiriya and this funny incident happened where.
And Sigiri is a tourist destination.
Yes, but
Yeah.
we only could find one packet of pads, and me and my cousin had our periods. And walking to the hotel, some monkeys attacked us and took the pad packets onto the tree they were on and kind of started ripping it apart and attacking us. And we only managed to salvage two. And it was very difficult to find it. So that kind of proves the fact that how women in these rural areas, one, they can't afford it, and two, they can't find it.
And three, there are monkeys.
And monkeys.
It's a huge problem. I'm telling you, you have to fight against everything. So because rural sector, is it because of the vendors mostly being men, they find it very awkward?
I don't think that's the case. It's just the fact that it's because it's priced so high, they don't think the women in the rural areas can afford it, which is why we are so adamantly saying the tax needs to be taken off so cheaper pads from other countries can come in, and that will give them accessibility to these women. Like I remember there was a packet of pads from India which is priced at 100 rupees for a pack of 10, but it was wiped off because of all the high duties that were put on it. But and then there's this whole discussion like, oh, but allowing other brands to come in, we're going to lose jobs here. How will our local manufacturers survive through this? But it's not that. First of all, the production of pads is completely machine operated. Because of the whole hygiene and germs and the whole issue about that, it's completely machine operated. So there is no people cutting the pad and packing it. So there is no loss of jobs. And also, I think our local manufacturers have to realize that if you want to compete with an imported brand, you have to make a better product. And the truth is, I don't think, for me, for example, I use Eva, even though there are other products such as Whisper and whatever that's imported. I choose to use a local product. So if you put forward a good product, people will use it. And I know there's the local industry is kind of making a monopoly, and they're charging women the same prices as what is imported into the country. So this is they're exploiting women if you really think about it, because they're able to do it. So allowing imports to come in at a cheaper price, we're breaking this monopoly and making it more competitive and more affordable to women.
End of the day, I think they should just find a way to just make this free at some point.
I think at least to students, it definitely needs to be given free. At least
at some point, so that you know.
Because a lot of school-going children, like school-going girls, they don't go to school because they can't afford to get pads. And you know, it's a matter of dignity when you can't live your best life like a man would in this country. So I think school children definitely, the government should make it a point to give pads for free.
All right. So that's one of the pressing things that she's following. But you know, a lot of people in Colombo tend to talk, you know. There was always a conversation, and you have faced so much of people cyberbullying you and attacking you about all types of things. Especially you do come with a surname that is quite politically, what can I say, known. When people did ask you, oh, why is Malsha doing this? I mean, she's just trying to like get into something. There were so many stories of these. What do you tell them? What drove you to do this project?
I think if you remember, even you were stopped from interviewing me at one point about this subject. But the thing is, I love to talk about things that make people uncomfortable. So this was the perfect thing for me to champion forward. I love making people uncomfortable.
Right.
Because they should, like, you should get out of the box, you know?
So that was the reason for you to like.
Yeah, I'm like, why is no one talking about it? I'm going to talk about it.
And there's no political agenda. And even if there is, I really don't mind because of the fact
let's say there is a political agenda. Who cares? Something good is happening.
Correct. That's what I was trying to say.
It doesn't matter.
So, I am for it. Like if we can get something sorted in the process.
But I have to be clear, I don't distribute in Colombo just because I would have had to hear that I'm doing politics through my charity. So I have made it a point that I don't distribute in Colombo. And even if I do, someone else would go.
Because in Colombo, there's a huge sector of people who don't even know about how to, you know, survive during those few days and how to dispose. And there's a huge community of that.
Yeah, exactly.
Because Colombo is quite divided between the, you know, the ones who can afford and the ones who can't. So I think it's
But the
needed.
funny thing is, the people who are talking and gossiping are the ones who can afford, and they think that everyone else is living the luxurious lives they are leading. But what you have to know is it's okay. We all have a good life, but there are also people who don't. So we need to talk about it.
All right. Well, we need to get into a break. We'll see you on the other side with more. Do stick around. We're going to break the tense situation a little bit and go something more sweeter on the other side. We will come back with more. See you on the other side because there's so much that we need to have from Yumi. We have Onita here. We will say hi to her from Taj. We'll see you after the break. Welcome back to the show. In conversation with Malsha, we are checking out her favorite restaurant today. You, me. It's like, it's a perfect place for a date. All right, now we have spoken about all the serious things. Let's talk about the fun things. We don't see you around much these days.
I don't have fuel in my car.
Have you stood in line?
I went with my sister once, yes.
Okay, and how was the experience?
I hated it. I'd rather sit at home.
How long was the experience?
4 hours.
4 hours. Good. I was 4.5.
Yeah.
But you have to always
but
pray
I know,
that when
I
you
know
come
friends
to
who have stayed like
a day
8
and all,
hours,
no?
9 hours and
Yeah.
not gotten it as well.
Yeah, that's just cursed. That's
Yeah.
just like terrible. That's just sad. But what is your thought about Sri Lanka? Because a lot of people are trying to migrate, like Canada is like the hot news these days. Aussie can't go in. I mean,
Yeah.
we Jaffna Tamils know how to get into a boat.
Well, you can get into Canada.
Yeah, but can't go in a boat, no, there.
That's
It's
true,
a bit
that's
far.
true.
So tell me, what do you think? What would you tell the youngsters? Should they think of another option, or can they pull it off here and have a future? Just your opinion.
It's difficult for me to tell them what they should and shouldn't do because it's very different. Obviously, the struggle for them is probably going to be much more harder. So I understand and I respect that some may want to leave, but I know of some people who also want to stay and fight it out and let's hope Gota resigns.
Yeah. Now this go home Gama has been around for so long, and we saw you in the news pulling barricades and the whole works. Did you ever think you'll become will have such an opinion publicly ever?
I feel like, I kind of, people react to things I do very strongly, so I'm just like, yeah, probably people are going to have something to say, but
But how was your reaction at home? Because what did they say? Mom, dad?
I come from a political family. They're like, hell yeah.
Push that harder.
Yeah. Well, didn't you try? You could have lifted it up a little harder.
Yeah. That's true, I understand. But what would your vision be to the members of parliament? Because we are just sitting here and suffering, and do they understand the importance of getting this country back in shape?
I think
Because we are just talking to you because you have a close associate, so we wanted to know inside
I think
scoop.
everyone, they're being politicians at the moment. They're thinking about themselves. They're thinking about power. No one actually is thinking about the country right now. They want to hold out until they can win an election. But what I have to say is, what's the point of winning an election and being a leader of a country that is ruined? Because, okay, let's say Sajid wins, or let's say Anukumar Dissanayake wins. If you're going to be the leader of a ruined country, just like they said Gora go home, they're going to say Sajid go home. So what's the point? We have to think.
True. Who would you say is fit to take this forward?
Me.
Good.
That's a safe answer to give,
Yeah.
so I'm going to give that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Yeah.
It's everyone's playground anyway. So the Malsha we knew before was someone who loved fashion. You were a bit like, you like to be edgy. You were dolled up. But right now you have become very in-depth and you're speaking about...
I still love fashion.
Of course, that is...
Yeah.
Yeah. But you have now added more to complement the...
Yeah, I think, when you're a woman in this world, you have to pick one thing that you want to do. You can either be interested in fashion, or you can be interested in politics or in art. Why? We don't see that we don't ask that of men. They are sportsmen, they are politicians, they're actors, they're singers. But why do we have to pick one role to play? Women can do anything, and we can be anything we want.
Right. I felt I was getting a bit hammered in the process.
No, I wasn't.
Okay, that's good. If somebody wants to be a part of Free to Flow and if they want to contribute, maybe be a volunteer, can they do so?
Yes, please get in touch with us through social media. We have our website, freetoflow.info. We would love to have some volunteers because there's very few of us doing all the work right now.
Please take its melting.
Of course.
Because of
yes,
my
so we would
temperature.
love some volunteers. Maybe Danu, you can come and volunteer.
I have no problem.
Yeah.
So what does a volunteer do?
So it's basically going and checking the name list, taking part in the active distribution. Yeah, things like that.
This is delicious.
Is it?
We should have not even spoken. We should have just eaten this segment out.
I don't think people want what you and me eating.
That's true. You know, I hate to go for weddings where when they take photographs, when you're about to put that.
And you look cute while
But
you
then
eat.
for my bad luck, they've already taken the picture and I look like.
I know, right? I'm like,
It's
please don't
terrible.
take photos of people
I
who eat.
know. True. Anyway, so we wanted to just bring you a recap of what's happening in terms of Free to Flow. The first two segments gave you all the information that you need. You can follow, help, support a cause that will eventually will be a historical project if we can just wipe off all the tax and have it as an affordable product which is freely available and there's no taboo attached to it, and that's the most important thing. If you think it's cool to buy a condom, it has to be cool enough to buy a pad.
Yeah.
Even condoms are not bought with. Have you ever been to Velavath asking for a condom?
Obviously, I haven't been to Velavath asking for one.
I went to Velavath to ask a condom.
And
I
what
said,
happened?
in Tamil.
Oh my God.
It's like I got her pregnant over the counter. At least there's a hope for me there. Anyway, on that note, we need to wrap things up. Thank you for joining us. Thank you very much to Taj Samudra for hosting us and giving us a chance to enjoy some good meal at Yumi. We will see you soon. Till then, you keep smiling. It's a wrap.